In the beginning, there were big states and little states. Virginia and Delaware, Pennsylvania and Rhode Island, Georgia and New Hampshire. The little states wanted to make sure that their voices weren't drowned out by the big states, that they couldn't be marginalized or pushed out of the way altogether, and that they could see themselves as equal parts of the American government. So the framers of the Constitution put together protections for the small states in that document, in the Constitution, giving them, a little bit more on a per capita basis than the big states. It was good to be a small state citizen. Still is, by the way. 600,000 people in the state of Vermont, and they have 2 senators and 1 representative, 3 people representing them in Congress. That's a whole lot, and the same thing in Wyoming. That's a whole lot more than a Californian. You got, 30 million people in California, I think, close to that. It's some incredible number of people. And they have 2 senators. So anyhow, one was that each state, one of these 2 ways that the kind of compromise that was necessary to get the small states like Delaware and Rhode Island to say, yes, we will join the big states like Pennsylvania and Massachusetts and be part of the Union. One was that even if a state was so small that they only had 1 representative in the House of Representatives, as Wyoming is right now, Vermont is right now, they would still get 2 full senators. And the second was that each small state would also get an additional 2 votes, which is represented by those senators, in the Electoral College. For most of our nation's history, the minority never abused these privileges, though we have recently seen a series of abuses of the Senate filibuster by the Republicans. But the Electoral College wasn't created just to protect the minority. This is where it gets really interesting. It was also there, just like the Second Amendment. I mean, the first purpose of the Second Amendment was to block the possibility of America ever having a standing army. Good luck on that, right? But the second purpose of the Second Amendment was to protect the institution of slavery in the southern states. And that was also this big state, little state thing. The political problem the slave states were facing when the Constitution was written was that there were very few white males, the legal voters of the day, living in many of those slave states, especially as you got farther and farther south. Down into South Carolina and Georgia, there were a lot of slaves, but they weren't allowed to vote. Not so many white males. So which is why they had their slave patrols. So if the president was elected by a national popular vote, which is what James Madison originally argued for when the Constitution was being put together, the slave states would not be contributing that many states to who, or that many votes to who becomes president of the United States. And the southern slave owners lived in constant fear, not only of their own slaves, but also that some northerner president might try to undo slavery, sort of like Abraham Lincoln actually did, So the slave states and the small states, the compromise for them was the Electoral College. So you get extra votes. They would have lacked if it was just a national popular vote, which brings us to today. Now that the Republican Party has been hijacked by the billionaire class, a very small 1% sliver of our population, they've taken huge, unprecedented steps to abuse the Electoral College. In the first, the starting point for this actually would be Bush v. Gore. But in the first election since Citizens United, hundreds of millions of dollars in outside spending from, genuine American oligarchs like the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson put the Republicans in control of traditionally blue states, the ones that they had targeted back after Bush v. Gore. And I thought Shano's observation the other day that, hey, in Bush v. Gore, the Supreme Court came right out and said, people in the United States do not have a constitutional right to vote for president of the United States. Ooh, they don't have the right. Well, then let's rig the game. So Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, they're on it. So what'd they do? They spent, the oligarchs started spending a lot of money at the state level to put Republicans in charge of the state legislatures and the governor's office. And once they got that, with the census of 2000 and the census of 2010, mostly census of 2010, the Republicans gerrymandered the congressional districts to increase the number of safe Republican seats and fracture the Democratic seats. And that's one reason why the House Democratic candidates got more than 1 million votes, 1.5 more million votes than the House Republican candidates around the nation last November, but the Republicans still run the House of Representatives because of gerrymandering. And Republicans are now using these gerrymandered states to push this breathtaking thing in Virginia. They're trying to rig the 2016 presidential election here, now, in 2013. Instead of a winner-take-all system, Republicans want Virginia's Electoral College votes doled out based on which presidential candidate won each congressional district, with an extra 2 votes going to that state's popular vote winner. It's kind of like, well, let's throw the dog a bone. We'll make it seem like it's sort of. Republicans in Wisconsin, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, they're all considering similar changes. And RNC Chair Reince Priebus has thrown his support behind the idea. So how big of an advantage will the Republicans have? Consider this. President Obama swept the 6 main battleground states of Florida, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Wisconsin last election. All 6 states, all Republican governors, he won every single one of them. Since it's a winner-take-all system, the president got 106 Electoral College votes. Romney got 0 because he beat him in every one of those states. I'm talking about just out of those 6 states. But if this new scheme had been in place before the last election, then the president would have only gotten 47 Electoral College votes, while Mitt Romney would have gotten 59, even though he lost the popular vote in every single state. And had all the states in the nation made those changes, today, we would have been, we'd be on the back end of the week in which President Mitt Romney gave an inaugural address, even though he lost the national vote by millions, just like George Bush did in 2000. He lost the national vote by about 500,000. Billionaires and the Republicans they own know that they're a minority in America. Their hard-right bigotry toward gays and women turns off young voters. Their xenophobia, mistrust of non-whites have turned off a growing minority electorate. Reaganomics has been exposed as a scam. So today, the majority of us have to do something before the billionaires take over completely. So what is it? We need to scrap the Electoral College altogether. That's it. It should be replaced with more democracy, a national popular vote model that elects our president based on which candidate gets the most votes nationwide, plain and simple. 9 states have already passed national popular vote laws. So their electors will vote for whichever candidate wins the national popular vote once enough states have done so that 270 votes are counted for. California, Maryland, Illinois, a bunch of states, 9 states have done this. So we need to get involved in this national popular vote thing. So if this trend continues and enough states sign up to bring their combined Electoral College vote to 270, the Electoral College will basically die. You don't even have to amend the Constitution. It just dies. Now, the Republicans are working on an Electoral College strategy for 2016. Democrats, progressives, independents should be 2. And it should be whoever gets the most votes for president is president. It's pretty simple.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Now, the Republicans are going to do everything they can to make sure that that's not the case. But national popular vote, go check it out. Stick it into the DuckDuckGo machine.